So it was claimed last week by I think Sammy Mockbell that Gabriel is in advanced talks over a new contract and that an agreement is close. And this is, he's still got 2 years on his deal, but we've seen what happened with Liverpool. You don't want to let it get to those final few months. So the fact that, we haven't had an announcement yet, but it's looking very likely it's going to happen. How big a boost is this so early on in the summer as well?
It's a massive boost, absolutely huge. All the talk, a lot of the talk anyway, is about transfers this summer. But I really think the renewals are just as important as any new signings for Arsenal because of who we need to get renewed. You're not talking about any old players here. You're talking about the real core group in Gabriel, Saliba, Saka, all those sort of players. Two real talented youngsters in Miles and Ethan. So it's a really important summer for renewals. And to start it off with Gabriel, who in my view is Arsenal's player of the season, despite missing out those last sort of 6 weeks or so with injuries. It's a massive boost, huge boost. These talks have been going on for quite a long time now. But I think for Andrea Berta as well to come in and get them over the line pretty quickly as well, to sort of pick up the reins. And he's had to build these relationships. You've got to understand that as well. It's not like Edu before, who had relationships with the player, with the agents, with the families, all that sort of stuff, And Berta's come in, had to sort of pick up the pieces and build those relationships, which are really important in these talks, And so for him to come in and get this one over the line, fingers crossed. Obviously, it's not been announced yet, as you said, but to do that will be a big boost to him. It'll be a big statement for Arsenal. I think it'll be a big statement for Andrea Berta as well. And as I said, in a summer where there's some other really, really important renewals coming, just to see, such an important player sign early on, I think it kind of that sort of snowball effect that it could create, I think could be really, really important. So yeah, massive news.
Yeah, that snowball effect, especially because since Arsenal, last had that big spate of renewals in I think, the 22-23 season, they still haven't won a major trophy. But the fact that, like I say, Berta's come in, building these relationships, convincing players that this is still the place to be, that's a brilliant sign for the future, even though, like I say, Arsenal haven't won the Premier League or Champions League yet, these players still believe that they can do it here.
Yeah, which is obviously a big, big thing. And I think that was the fear, wasn't it? The longer it goes on without winning a major trophy, and you start to worry about, is this group going to start to break up? We've seen it before. Tottenham were an example under Pochettino when they got themselves up to second, couldn't quite get themselves over the line, and then the squad started to dismantle, and they had to start all over again. You don't want to see something like that happening with Arsenal. They've worked so hard to get into the position they are. You want to keep these good players and add to them. You don't want to lose those big players, because it sends out a bad message, and others can start to follow suit, and then it's more difficult to bring in top players because they're seeing you're already big players are leaving. So it's a really important statement, And I think for someone like William Saliba as well, who of course we know these contract talks are going on with him as well, to see his mate, his mentor almost. I mean, you talk to Saliba, and when he talks about Gabriel, you can just feel the respect sort of coming out of Saliba when he talks about Gabriel. He respects him so much as a friend, but as a player as well, and his quality. To see Gabriel sign that contract, you've got to think will help with Saliba at such an important time of his renewal talks as well. So yeah, all round, it's a really big thing.